So I was diagnosed with ADHD sometime around middle schoolish time, and at that point I didn't know what ADHD meant, and I was just really worried about being put in the class with all the stupid kids, or the what we perceived to be the stupid kids. So so I was diagnosed around that time, and I couldn't get medication right away. In fact, I mean, my parents, I don't know how they were about getting medication. I remember my mom talking about some kids that she knew that were on medication for behavioral issues, and she always talked about how, like, they turned into zombies whenever they were on their meds. And so I don't think she thought very fondly of me being on medication, and I'm not exactly sure what my dad thought, but I think he was more accepting of the idea than maybe my mom, but I'm not sure. But at first, I wasn't able to get medication at all, and my dad tried to kind of self medicate me with coffee, because I was told that coffee was a stimulant and it could help with ADHD. And I won't lie, I mean, it helped in the morning for when I did drink it, because he didn't make me actual coffee. He got me the instant stuff, which kind of seemed more like hot cocoa, which seemed more appropriate for my age. But yeah, it didn't work. Not really. It was just, I liked it. It was tasty, but it was not a cure, not a cure, but it wasn't a permanent fix. Anyway, then I don't know how much later it was. I know I still lived in the same town, so it couldn't have been too long after. I was diagnosed when I was in middle school, and I went to this particular school from 4th grade to 8th grade, so for 4 years. And so somewhere in that 4-year period, I did get medication. I didn't take it. I didn't take it. I hated it. I hated it. Not because I didn't think it worked, because I didn't know, because I never took it consistently enough, and no parent, no adult ever made sure I actually took it. I just knew that putting that pill in my mouth and feeling it on my tongue and in my mouth was the worst feeling ever, and it was gross, and I just didn't want anything to do with it. And every time I got my pill, I would flush it down the toilet. Sometimes I would take it. Sometimes if I was in the room with, like, my parents or something and I had no choice. But yeah, I did not take it consistently enough, like, at all, to know if that even worked. And so I have taken several different types of medication for ADHD, and I know how different ADHD can be for different people and how differently the medications can affect them. So when I talk about the medications, I've decided I'm not going to name them. Because just because something did not work for me or was not the right fit for me does not mean it's not the right fit or the right mixture of whatever it is for somebody else. So I don't want to shed a negative light on a particular medication because it did not work for me specifically, because it might be right for somebody else, and they might not want to take it because of something somebody says negative about it. So I'm just going to call this medication that I took Medication A. Medication A, no idea if it worked, never took it consistently enough. And then there was a long stretch of time where I just didn't take anything. Yeah. And that's my life. So I did not try to get medication again until I was an adult and living on my own, had my own money, had my own place, even though it was trash, but I was proud of it because I paid for it. I was the one paying for living there. So at first, I did not want to get medication because I was in the mindset that I was going to use ADHD as an excuse to not do things that I wanted to do, or do things that I needed to do, or get things just done in general. I did not want to use it as an excuse. So I thought, I didn't want to use an excuse, and I did not want to use medication to try and fix myself because I was convinced that I'm not broken. I just need to try harder. So I was convinced that if I was just self-aware enough about my ADHD and I just myself enough, I could do stuff. I could do the things that I needed to do. That didn't work. And it was pretty miserable, especially when I kicked myself in the butt so hard to do some of the things that I wanted to do, and then trying so hard and still failing was absolutely awful. And what sucked the most is that I kicked myself in the butt and I punched myself in the head so much, like figuratively and literally, to do things. I put so much effort into it. And then when the result was just nothing of real substance, and that's what people saw, and so that's what people tried to critique and tried to help me get better at things, when I know with all of my being that I put so much into that, and I wasn't ever going to get praise for effort. And how people look at things like participation ribbons, I wasn't going to get that. And I felt like I shouldn't, because I didn't produce the thing that I needed to make or needed to do or needed to give somebody. So why should I get the praise? But at the same time, I beat myself up so much about just trying to do even some of the most basic of things. And to hardly ever and almost never get like words of encouragement and affirmation that my effort was noticeable was really hard. Really hard. So I don't know when. There wasn't a like, this is the time, this is the moment. It was spread out along a course of time. I didn't seek out medication until after I was married. So it went from some kind of medication, but not really, in coffee in middle school, to beating the heck out of myself trying to do things for years, to being in a stable relationship with a partner who has good health insurance, and I was finally able to seek out medication when I decided that I should probably do this. Yeah, and so after all that time, what was I, 12, 13, all the way to 25? I finally decided to seek out medication. And what do you know? I got some. And it was easy. I didn't expect it to be. I made an appointment with somebody. I walked in the building. I talked to someone for about an hour, and then they said, okay, I'm going to write you a prescription for this. Here you go. And then I got it. And looking back, I'm a little concerned about how easy it was. But anyway, so I got this new medication. This is medication B. And as far as I can remember, it did work. But I don't think I was able to take it long enough to to see if there was an actual, like, real effect, or if there was, like, negative effects that I just didn't notice yet. But I took it for a while, and I thought it was working great. Then I had to stop taking it because I got pregnant. And when I was pregnant, everything about me that was ADHD was blamed on baby. Baby brain. Oh, you just have baby brain. Oh, don't worry, it was just baby brain. Oh, you're pregnant, you're going to forget things. And I don't think you people understand that this is my normal state. I just happen to also be carrying around a child in my body. Like, this isn't any different than I remember being for years. And now you're telling me it's passable because I'm growing a human, which, I mean, thank you, but also don't blame my baby for my problems that I already had. Anyway, yeah, so also, oh my gosh, being pregnant during the ADHD stretch with my first child, like, I didn't know how to expect being pregnant, and I kind of went back into that mindset of just kind of like myself, like, I do things, go, and I got like that just a smidgen more because I told somebody at my work, like, hey, I've never been pregnant before, I don't know how this is gonna affect my body, I know it's different for lots of people, so I just want to kind of take it easy, so I don't want to overwork myself. And I kid you not, they were so obnoxious about me doing anything that I was just all like, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna do everything and you're gonna leave me alone. Yeah, so I had to stop taking my medication, and with me, I'm so dumb. In my brain, I was like, I do not want to spread out being pregnant. I don't want to be pregnant and then wait 2 years and then do it all over again. I am doing this in one go. I'm going to have the children that I want to have, and then I want to be done, and then maybe one more a couple years down the road, but I want to have this many children right now and be done. And that's what I did. I had 3 children back to back, and I'm good. And I had, for that amount of time, for about 3 years, I had no ADHD medication, and everybody blamed all my symptoms on baby brain. So, when I was done birthing children, and everything got settled out, and everything's good, yay, okay, time to go back and get my medication again, because I'm tired of punching myself in the head to do things. I would like to be able to organize the thoughts in my brain and be able to do things without having to kick the crap out of me and not being able to explain to other people why I'm crying because they didn't say something nice to me because I did things that were just awful for me to do, even though they were like super simple. So I'm thinking, well, the first time I got ADHD medication, it was super easy. I bet this could be super easy. And I just gotta stay positive. I gotta be understanding of people, and there's a whole paperwork thing, and everything's kind of messed up, but everything will work out. Getting a doctor's appointment was infuriating. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice in what doctor I see. It's just whoever is available. And I have a doctor right now, and he's fine, but he is not my first choice. He is not the person who I think understands me the best as a patient, but he is my only option. And I cannot afford just mentally to try and find a different doctor that vibes with me better, because I have to take what I have. Because if I can't get my prescription refilled and I crash, so it would be a very risky gamble. So I found a doctor, and I went to an appointment. I told him, hey, before I got pregnant forever, I had this medication. I had this medication B, and this is the medication that I want to get back on because I thought it really worked for me. And he goes, well, that medication's actually pretty new, and it's actually kind of expensive, so I don't know if your insurance is going to approve it, so we're going to try you on this first because you're a new patient to me, and I don't know you very well yet, so we're going to try you on a non-stimulant. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever, that's fair, we'll try this non-stimulant first. Did jack diddly do. It didn't do anything for me. So that was medication. That's medication C. Nothing. Didn't do anything. Nada. Took it for 3-4 months. of me just kind of being like, is it doing something? Is it not doing something? Am I making a placebo effect? Am I thinking about this too much? I don't think it's doing anything. Yeah, I'm convinced it did nothing. So I told him, hey, this isn't doing anything. Well, let's try and up the dose. Can we change the medication? Because if it's not doing it, can we change the medication? Can we change the medication? So I think we upped the dose first, and it was still a big nothing burger. And then says, okay, let's go to this next medication now that this isn't doing anything. So that was medication A, medication B, medication C, here's medication D. Medication D. It was alright. It was fine. It did something. I could tell something was going on. But I always felt like it was like, I always felt like I had to supplement it with like a coffee. And I felt like it was like so vague and dull in the background. Like, yeah, something is going on here. But it's like, I think I might need a higher dose because it's very faint. And so it's very weird because you're like, is it faint? Is it faint or is it doing something? Is it not doing something? Am I just trying to get high? Do I just want a higher dose because I want a better feeling? What? I don't so I was like, I don't know if I should ask for a higher dose. I don't know if I should just keep drinking coffee every day with my medication. I don't think I'm supposed to drink coffee every day with my medication. So I talked to my doctor and I told him, hey, I feel like I have to supplement this with coffee every day almost for it to actually be somewhat effective. So, I mean, I'd like to not have to think that I have to drink coffee every day, which, I mean, coffee's fine and I'm still going to want to drink it periodically, but I want to see if I can up this dose because I think it might, be more beneficial. And of course, back and forth, let's take it for a little bit longer before you up the dose. And then I don't know why it took so long, but eventually, dose upped. And it seemed like it was fine until I was having mood swings and emotional outbursts, and situations where I wasn't prepared for, I would just, what do I do? And I would get overwhelmed, and I would get overwhelmed in a way that there was nowhere to go in my head. And there was nowhere to go in reality either. And I would crumple. And I was like, hey, so this is definitely helping me focus and getting a lot done. It really is. But I'm concerned about these episodes I'm having where I just die mentally in my head. And everything is awful, and I cry about dumb stuff. So, I know that there's always got to be some sort of negative symptom to these, but I kind of want to find the medication that has the least horrible, terrible symptom. And if this is it, great, I'll take this, but I don't know yet. And if we could try something different, that'd be great. Or we can, get the medication I asked for to begin with. But no, insurance wasn't going to give me that. Insurance was not going to give me that. So, upping the dose just didn't really work. I mean, it did in that the feeling of being able to focus and do things without beating myself up was there. But so were the random emotional outbursts of awfulness. So I was all like, okay, let's try something else. And then that shortage hit. And there was nothing. And I was like, I can't have a crash during the holidays. I can't, no. No! So I called my doctor or talked to the nurse and like, hey, so I know that there's a shortage of the current medication that I am taking, and I am out. Can you just like write some prescriptions of something and see what sticks? I mean, I will try something else. I've been wanting to try something else anyway, so just something else. Something. Nothing. 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 I had to go through the entire holiday season with nothing. And on top of the crash from having to suddenly go cold turkey, I mean, obviously I made it through and it was fine. And I had fun. It wasn't unbearably horrible, but it was so rough. I would be happy to be around family and people, but as soon as I was done, and there was no pushing through it. I had to, okay. So I had nothing for a while. And then come January, mid-January, I got my the medication back, but it's still the same. Still the same one where I was all like, hey, I'm having emotional outbursts and everything is awful when my brain doesn't know what to do and I kind of panic. I still want to try something different. And so I talked to my doctor. We talked about different kinds of medications that there were and different kinds that we could take. And he kind of told me that like ADHD medication is like Coke and Pepsi. It's just, they're just different formulas of the same thing. And you just got to figure out what works for you. And it's like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. That's fine. So give me something else so that I can make that decision. And I do some research and I look up some different medications and I was like, hey, I want to try this one. And he was like, okay, you can try that one. Here's a prescription. Great. Where is it? And I'm familiar with this phrase, but I ended up in prior authorization hell, where I needed a prior authorization in order to get this medication. And I wanted to talk to him, say, hey, you've been in this business for quite a while. You've been a doctor for a while, haven't you? You know what a prior authorization is. So when I ask you, hey, is this medication going to go straight to the pharmacy or am I going to have to deal with my insurance? And you tell me, no, it should just go to the pharmacy and it shouldn't be a problem. I have half a mind to think that you lied. You know what a prior authorization is and you could have told me. And it wouldn't have been a secret. Because I already knew what they are. Anyway, so yeah. Oh no, it's perfectly fine. You can get your medication, no problem. So yeah, prior authorization. And then went through that whole thing. I kept talking to my pharmacist. Hey, is my medication there? No, there's a prior authorization. Let me send the thing again. Okay, bye. Hey, is my medication there? Oh, no, there's a prior authorization thing. Let me send it back to the doctor. There's an incident. Bye. And just over and over again. It's like, oh my god. Oh my gosh. Okay, whatever. And then I go back. It's like, hey, what can we do here to make this stop happening and actually make some progress here? And eventually my insurance was all like, well, you need to try so many different kinds of cheaper medication before you can try this one that you want to try that's a little bit more expensive. And you know what? I am a reasonable person. At least I hope I am. I completely understand why you would want to try something more inexpensive before you jump to the more expensive option. And I understand why doctors, can't just always automatically prescribe the most expensive or the newest thing on the market, because there are other medications that might be more inexpensive that might work for someone just as well. Because like I said before, ADHD affects people differently. The medications affect them differently. It is just the same amalgamation of ingredients just in slightly different ways, like Coke and Pepsi, and saying that one is better than the other one might be completely arbitrary and incorrect because it's just so different across the scale. So I get it, okay, that they want me to try more inexpensive medications first. And I would be very much understanding of that if I, for 1 second, thought that my insurance was doing anything more than just trying to save $1. Because I am not convinced in any capacity that insurance companies are looking out for the best interest of patients, but they're looking out for the interest of their own monetary well-being. And so I get it. You want to try and listen to the more inexpensive things first. But you know what should matter more than trying those medications to see if they work or don't work? The opinion of the doctor who actually, went to school and has a medical degree. I think that should give some weight and precedence over whether or not a medication is filled. Not the insurance company wanting to save a few dollars. I don't have a problem with trying a few different medications. I have a problem with having to try a few different medications because I'm not monetarily worthy to try what my doctor and I talked about that I try. That's what bothers me. Not that, hey, these other medications, they are also very good and they helped a lot of people. Why don't you try one of these first? And we're going to try this one and this one. We'll do some trial runs and then we can try the one that, we discussed. And I know that's a lot, but since ADHD medication is so, it's more or less the same thing with different mixtures and it's really hard to get it right, then I think it would be important to try a few different ones before we make a final decision on what works best. And right now, I'm on one of those medications where I just have to try it and it's fine. If it works, that's great. My goal is not to get the most expensive medication. My goal is to get what works. What I'm on right now, what is it? Medication A, medication B, medication C, medication D. I think I'm on medication E. the medication A was from when I was like a child, so I don't think it counts. But I have tried A, B, C, D, E, 4 different medications, and I'm on the 5th. Think I may have tried enough to be able to be part of the decision-making process of which one I'd like to try. And, the reasons why I want to try it. So, yeah, the one I'm on right now sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks for me. So bad. I thought I had bad mood swings and outbursts on my last medication. This is so much worse. And these medications are supposed to help with impulse. Oh my gosh, my impulse is so bad right now. I don't know how many mental breakdowns I've had in the past couple of months, but they're too many. Too many. And I'm afraid to stop taking it because I don't want to crash going cold turkey. And I got a letter, and I think I already told you guys this. I got a letter because I went into the pre-authorization hell of, hey, my medication, no pre-authorization. And the nurse of my doctor contacted me. He's like, hey, we figured out that we just need you to sign this consent form that you want to take this medication, and then we can make the appeal to see if we can get you that medication that you want. How did you not know about this sooner? Don't you... So I signed a piece of paper, I sent it off, consenting that I wanted to try this medication, which... Okay... I don't get that, but fine. And then yesterday, I checked the mail and I got a a letter in the mail that says your appeal for this medication has been denied. You got to try these other two first before you can do that. Okay, I guess I'll do that then. Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. I got an appointment on the 15th. I'm going to take the pill bottle that I have right now. I'm going to throw it at my doctor and I'm going to tell him no. Bad. Bad medication. No. That brings us up to today. That's about everything. I wanted to tell that story. I wanted to get it out. I don't know how to end things. Thanks, bye.